Scarves and Spikes, Sydney, Henry, and Tommy shortly as we reflect. It sounds so formal as we reflect, Henry, on the roster moves made or the roster announcements made on Tuesday and Chris Henderson's press conference on Wednesday. How's it going? Long
That's
time
going
no
all right.
talk.
Yeah, as Daniel's saying in the chat, ready for a Henry Yap session.
What's that supposed to
Hopefully I
mean?
don't go on too long, but yeah, we
Yeah.
got some stuff to talk about. Obviously Chris Henderson talked to the media today regarding Atlanta United's end of
Yes.
season roster decisions, which again, if you haven't checked those out, you can see our article on the website, scarfandspikes.com. We also, Sydney and I, we made a video talking through them, and that is also
Yes.
on our YouTube. So go ahead and check that out for more context. But yeah, we got some quotes to talk about as far as what Chris Henderson said to us today, and yeah, just ready to dive into that, man.
And as always, hello to those watching live on YouTube and listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart. We want to give you all a shout out. And those watching on YouTube after we're live, thanks for joining us. However you're watching or listening, we really appreciate your patronage, I guess, and your consumption of our media endeavors here, whether that's the scarvesandspikes.com website or YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, all that good stuff. Plenty of time or plenty of things to talk about this off season as we look forward to 2026 and hope that 2026 is not a repeat, Henry, of 2025 because we can only go up from here. Isn't that correct?
Well, technically,
We can't go a little
you didn't win
further
the
down.
wooden spoon, so technically you could go lower. it's like the meme.
Theoretically,
That's
yes.
what was it? It's like this can't carry on. It can.
Yes.
But you would think that bringing back Tata Martino, the coach
Yeah.
who initially helped start this project, you would think that that is a change of direction, right? You'd think that things have to go better,
Yeah.
but then again, we've thought this for how many seasons now, and it hasn't
Right.
exactly panned out that way. So for me, I'm going to reserve that judgment until we've seen kind of the full moves of this roster ahead of
Yeah.
2026, until we've seen the ideas that we should be seeing, until we've seen that develop as far as the soccer. Before I start saying like it can only go up. Though I pray to God that you're right.
Right. There's not much further it can go down. That's what I'm trying to say. I will say this. At least when Tata Martino's technical staff, was announced Wednesday morning today, as we're recording this or being live, there are some familiar faces on it. Jorge Taylor is on it. Rodrigo Rios is on it. Manuel Alfaro, Palladini, Rodolfo Palladini. So those are names that have been with Atlanta United in the past. Damian Silvero is not a former Atlanta United staff member, but he has been with Tata at Newell's in Argentina. And yeah, he was with Atlanta United. I'm sorry. But yeah, he's joined the staff as well. And then Elliot Parrish is remaining with the club as its goalkeeping coach. So some carryover from Ronnie Dyla's staff until to Tata's staff. And I think part of it is to bring on a face that's familiar to Jaden Hibbert on the coaching staff, and we'll talk about that just a little bit. But it's a little bit encouraging, seeing things like Taylor and the rest of that staff. I forgot to mention Gerardo Martino Jr. is on the staff as well.
Tata Jr., let's go.
I was about to say that. Tata Jr., Tatainho, if
Tatito.
you will. Tatito, there you go. It's not Brazilian, he's Argentinian.
Yep.
Tatito, he's on the staff. So it's people that Tata trust, people that are, in this inner circle. Mentioned Taylor, mentioned Rios, Alfaro, Palladini, just a lot of names that have been with Atlanta United in the past that have returned to the club. And not only does that speak to the person that Tata is and the relationship that he's built throughout his coaching career, that speaks to his willingness to bring in just some familiar faces, faces with ties to the culture, faces with ties to Atlanta United already. Um, it wasn't easy, I guess, to bring on coaches that aren't haven't had previous connections to Atlanta United, but these are individuals that have been with him for years. Taylor sort of been with him for years. Palladini certainly been with him for years, starting back when he was with Newell's. So that was good to see, at least. Very good to see.
Yeah, as you said, this is clearly a group that Tata trusts. He's been around the block. He knows his stuff. He's coached in several leagues, several national teams, and
Yeah.
this is the group that he knows can help him be successful here in Atlanta United. Um, I thought it was interesting that he decided to keep Elliot Parrish, the goalkeeping
Yeah.
coach. So clearly, I mean, there's an alignment there as far as what he brings to uh, kind of the preparation and the development of goalkeepers at the club. Uh, also, kind of getting a little ahead of myself, but I did ask Chris Henderson about uh, some of the coaches that we hadn't heard about, Carl Robinson
Yeah.
and uh, Matt Lowry, who were on the assistant coaching staff for Ronnie Dyla this season. We were told that Carl Robinson is no longer with the club. He's back in Europe. He actually, funny enough, he posted on LinkedIn. I think he was at a Wales rugby game or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So interesting. But
No visit to Wrexham by Carl Robertson at this point, or no?
I guess not. I mean,
Not,
funny
he
enough,
hasn't made it to the
that could
racecourse
happen.
ground.
Actually, you know what? It could happen. Now that you mentioned Wrexham and that whole kind of Ryan Reynolds consortium sort of thing,
Yeah.
he actually owns now. He's the new owner of a team in Colombia. They used to be
Mm.
called Equidad, and is now going to be called Internacional de Bogotá, which
Okay.
is interesting. But maybe we see Carl Robinson head coaching that team. Who knows? But
Yeah.
getting back to Atlanta United, Matt Lowry, fantastic guy, by the way, because if you ever meet him, he's a great guy to talk to, very knowledgeable person. He is staying on as
Yep.
Chris Henderson said, he's staying on as a video analyst, which is interesting, considering that he's always been part of kind of the development aspect of the players as far as coming to the first team and being that bridge.
Mm.
Before that, he was the academy director. Obviously, that position is now under Javier Perez. But it's interesting that Matt Lowry, he said he was going to be that a part of video analysts in these technical staff announcements. We heard Damian Silvero
Mhm.
as head of video analysis. So I'm
Mhm.
curious kind of how that dynamic works, and if Matt Lowry is then like an assistant, or what is kind of the dynamic there, because I would assume that they would be working together. I think they also have another video analyst, another couple of video analysts on staff. I don't know if
Mhm.
they have been retained, or what that department looks like. But yeah, ultimately it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up. That is not going to be these aren't going to be the last moves of the technical staff, the soccer side of staff. Obviously, I think the club is still looking for a scout to replace Jamie Henderson, who departed the club
Yep.
midway through the season. And so, yeah, there's still some work to be done in that aspect, but the offseason's rolling, man. And we're already like, this team is the club is starting to take some form again in all
Yeah.
aspects.
You mentioned Javier Perez, and am interested to see how he and Tata work together. Of course, Perez has plenty of MLS experience, plenty of experience with the U.S. youth setup. Just overseas with Real Madrid. So he's got that experience. We've talked about that numerous times, and you've had an interview, Henry, with him. But I want to see what that relationship looks like between him and Tata, because one of the things that, and we'll dive into what Henderson said a little bit later, but one of the things that Henderson brought up is how impressed Tata was with some of the younger players that have come through the academy and are looking to affect the first team. Shanki, Will Riley, Matt Edwards, names like that, Luke Brennan, certainly. And one of the things that Henderson said is in 2017, 2018, when you had guys guys like Chris Goslin and Andrew Carlton, the academy wasn't maybe as mature as it is today, right? And now, looking like 8 years from now or 8 years later, how it's been built up, sort of the names that are in the academy right now, the talent that has caught on with their national teams as well, like Cooper Sanchez, and not John Henderson, John Ransom and James Donaldson. Those are players that have caught on to their youth national teams, and they've been productive with their youth national team setups. And that speaks to what Javier Perez has been able to do with the Atlanta United Academy. And Chris Henderson said, look, in Inter Miami, when we worked together, two of them worked together, he gave plenty of younger players their opportunities. And whether that's due to necessity because of injuries, or something else, they still got their opportunities. And it's interesting to see how that crop of talent exists for Atlanta United. And I've mentioned some names, I've forgotten others. We haven't mentioned Aiden Torres. We haven't mentioned Kidden Moore. We'll see what happens with him. I expect he gets loaned out to the twos in 2026, even though he'll be a homegrown. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for younger players. And of course, you have the draft coming up. Atlanta are picking second. So there's opportunities there, Henry, for younger players to affect the first team in ways they really couldn't under Tata 2017, 2018, I guess.
I remember when we got the chance to talk to Chris Henderson after the summer window closed. Um, and I asked him because at that time, then head coach Steve Cook of the second team, he had left the job, obviously. So I was kind of asking because it seemed like a point of a turning point for the second team. It seemed like there was some change that was being in effect. And I asked him, and he said, the aim is to make the second team younger. And obviously, the big news yesterday were the roster decisions for the first team. But also, later that day, we got the roster decisions for the second team. And what do you see, right? Out of contract, Javier Armas. Options declined on Ryan Carmichael, Salma Zafero, Rodrigo Neri, Ronan Wynn. These are all players for the most part, except for Rodrigo Neri, who is 20. Most of these players were either in their prime years, reaching their prime years, in their mid-20s, which by that point, that's not really the type of players that you want to be prioritizing in your second team, your development team. Which, as I talked to Javier Perez, too many Javiers. I talked to Javier Perez about it during the summer, and he said, "Well, look, the second team, it's supposed to be that bridge for academy kids to the first team, right? This is like the proving ground. It's your first taste of professional experience before you go on and become homegrown players. And these kids aren't going to get that experience if they're constantly blocked by 23, 24, 25, even, beyond year olds, right? You need to prioritize your youth development. So that's where we're going to see more from players like, James Donaldson in goal, Santiago Pita, Ignacio Suarez, and eventually his brother, Santi Suarez, who's coming up through the academy as well. These are who you want to see more because that is your future, right? These guys who are in their prime, it's great to maybe supplement that roster with some of them. But even then, what other function does the second team have? It has the function of if there's a first team player who maybe isn't getting a whole lot of minutes, a first team player that is coming back from injury or something like that, this is a chance to rehabilitate them, to get them integrated a little bit more, to get them minutes. That is fine. That I understand. But yeah, as far as, kind of filling the second team with kind of these in prime, post prime players, it doesn't make sense. So I'm glad to see that change. And hopefully, whatever moves we see in the second team align with that, where we're seeing younger players enter the second team, players that have potential to develop and then join the first team.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, getting those players exposure to the first team. And like you said, not being blocked by, older players like your Matzaferos, etc. And even your Nick Sessex. Nothing against him, great guy. Wish him all the best. But he sort of mentioned that when you're at that age, you sort of capped at your development unless you're an absolute late bloomer. And yeah, you sort of see what the intent is for Atlanta United too, and to a larger extent, Atlanta United. So those two certainly go hand in hand, and I'm sure under Tata we'll see further integration between the twos and the first team. So let's go through just real quick, Henry, just some of the key points that Henderson made in his comments to the media. I think the big one that we all want to discuss is Jamal Chiare and that big contract that he's on, and the fact that it doesn't sound like that is any reduction in that salary, that $700,000+ salary, which really disappointed me. I feel like, yeah, I've mentioned this before. I feel like you can do a lot better with a player that doesn't require as much money. I mean, he's produced to some extent, but it's just a lot of money to be paying for a backup
A
who,
32-year-old backup,
yeah,
dude. I
yeah,
mean,
who's
look,
had an injury history too.
if we were talking about like a 20 to 22-year-old with potential to like
Yeah,
become the main guy, right, in a few years, like sure, okay, fine. I'd understand that. I understand that price point perfectly. But we're talking about a guy who he's past his prime. He's starting his decline, right, in his
yeah,
career.
yeah.
He's probably not going to get any better. He's not going to get any faster. Um, and you're paying him a very hefty salary. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he should also be on an international slot, right? Yeah, he's on an international slot.
Yeah, it's another thing.
So that's a lot of resources being tied into a player who we aren't expecting significant minutes from. Now, yes, he scored 5 goals in about 1,000, just under 1,000 minutes this season, and that's great for a
Not
backup.
bad.
Not bad. Uh, but man, Tata must really love his soccer to say, I want that guy. I've made the joke before in our Discord, right? Like maybe he's still traumatized from the brace that Tiare scored against Miami in Game 3 in 2024. He's like, man, that guy's good.
Yeah.
um, but man, from a salary perspective, as we have talked about on this show, as other voices around Atlanta United have said, uh, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to keep a backup
Right.
at that number. You have Togashi, who is on like a senior minimum. Keeping him seems absolutely fine, but Tiare, I have my questions about.
The only way it makes sense, and I've mentioned this before, the only way it makes sense is if they see a market overseas, because that's an absolutely massive contract to be trading within MLS. So I don't see a trade materializing. Maybe a League Dead team wants him back. I mean, he came from League Dead to Atlanta United. Maybe he decides, hey, I want to go back to finish my career. So that's the only way I can see why they brought him back, just to make sure he's under team control. They can get a return for him, and not let him walk on a free transfer. I mean, that's the only thing. But then I guess the question from there is, now why not get rid of him, or not get rid of him? Why not sell him earlier? And yeah, because he needed a backup, obviously. But I don't know. That's just my theory.
I mean,
I don't
it
know.
has credence because it's interesting that they didn't do what they're doing with Ronald Hernandez, right? Where I mean,
Right.
it's not like Ronald Hernandez was on a massive contract, right? He let me find the exact number. 290,750.
Yeah.
That is okay for a backup. And considering that he had a decent year. I would argue that this was his best year with Atlanta
Hmm.
United.
Yeah.
And they still declined his option and are negotiating him down, presumably negotiating him down for a new contract.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they didn't do that with Tiare, or at least that they didn't
Right.
try to do something like that. So perhaps that is a sign that there is interest in Tiare. And if they tried to pull that, potentially another team could be like, oh, okay, well, if they decline your option and you are out of contract, we will sign you to
Right.
this number. Uh, and you know, you're a free agent, you can sign with us for a bigger salary than they're willing to pay for you. So, I mean, I think your theory has some credence that maybe there is some interest in him, and Atlanta doesn't want to risk potentially losing Tiare for nothing. I'd be interested to see if we see any developments as far as his name floated around and in the transfer market or even within the MLS
Right.
trade market.
Yeah, because we know some trades are coming, and Chris Henderson kind of hinted at it because of the team's position as far as Gam is concerned, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, I don't know if it's going to be an MLS that they move him because of that contract. I feel like the most viable option, um, if he is does part with the team, I should say, is a transfer because then you have Togashi. Then maybe you can start the discussion of perhaps maybe sign a backup striker on a I don't know U22 deal or something like that. Not as your prime striker, obviously, but someone behind Latte Lot. That way you
Sign
have
one
sort of
Joseph Martinez. No,
yeah,
sorry, we put those rumors to
right,
bed.
yeah,
I
yeah. No, but why not? I mean, you have two spots available. I mean, you're gonna have to use it in some form of fashion in your forward group, and maybe as a right back. But Chris Henderson said you find a player that's hitting your cap at just 200K or 150K, you're in pretty good shape if they're performing well. And I feel like the organization's sort of thought process on U22s has evolved, in that regard. So I'd imagine some U22s sort of making their way onto Atlanta United in 2026 and beyond.
hopefully Tata has a good eye for
Yeah,
U22s. I mean,
yeah,
he did well identifying younger players for Atlanta United back then. Uh, he was actually one of the guys, one of the main guys that kind of kickstarted what ultimately became the U22 initiative in MLS. He was the one that
mm,
started this idea of bringing young, promising talent into MLS, and then uh, developing that sort of pipeline, that idea of you can come to MLS, develop your soccer, develop yourself
yeah,
professionally, and then make the jump to Europe, which is the ultimate goal for a lot of these guys. So I could certainly see that idea. There's also in the second team coming up through the academy, plenty of players that are waiting for their opportunity. Omar mentioned Patrick Weah. Um,
hmm
he absolutely he had a great season with Atlanta United 2 last season. He's got to be getting some looks at some point to join the first team. Uh, and then you have others also in that kind of group. So yeah, there's certainly several places where you could get backup strikers. And so I think in that regard, once TRA, Togashi, once they kind of phase out of the club eventually, uh,
hmm
Atlanta's going to be in a solid spot. But for right now, I think, if they're comfortable with the striker group that they have, then uh, I guess we'll see what happens.
yeah. If you're Latte Lot, kind of staying on the striker situation just briefly, I mean, you got to pick things up, right? I mean,
100%.
yeah. So I don't know if there's a world where, and Matt Doyle has kind of floated this theory out from LASoccer.com. I don't know if there's a world where there's a championship team kind of desperate to get their hands on him. I don't know if you take that deal, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is pure speculation at this point, but I
At this
think,
point, if you take
yeah,
him, if you take a deal, it would have to be at a massive loss, wouldn't
yeah.
it?
Well, I
Because he,
mean,
he clearly hasn't been great.
yeah,
He,
I don't
he
know if
he
it's
has
a
not.
massive loss though. Like 15
Oh, come
million
on.
transfer fee,
Atlanta
something like
Atlanta
that.
paid 22 million for him. Do you think a team in Europe is going to pay anywhere close to that?
No, no, no. But I mean, how do you find massive? I guess is my question.
You got him for 22 plus add-ons.
Yeah,
Uh, I'm going to say massive would be anything below, yeah, anything below 14 million, I would say.
sure. Yeah, no,
That
I
that would
agree.
be
I
that would
agree.
be massive.
No, I agree.
Uh, because right now, what leverage does Atlanta have? Right? Uh, he just had a pretty bad season, and he's a little bit older. I don't know. I feel like there's more advantage in these negotiations for
Yeah.
a buying team than Atlanta United, especially if Atlanta United looks desperate to sell him, which Atlanta doesn't, right?
Mhm.
Atlanta has said multiple times, and they're good at this, and they've said multiple times that we're happy with the three DPs that we have. We think they can produce. We think they can work together. You know, they don't want to create any sort of suspicion that
Yeah.
uh, you know Latte Lot isn't who they bought him to be, which is like the next big thing in MLS. So
Yeah.
I think either way, they're going to want to hold on to him and see how 2026 goes. Personally, I think a coach like Tata can get the most out of him, and he will know how to get
Hope
the
so.
most out of him. I'm actually excited to see what he can do under Tata, because the way Tata plays is exactly, it's perfectly conducive to the style that Latte Lot is strongest in, and it's playing quickly and it's playing in transition. I think that's where Latte Lot will thrive, and I think we're going to see a market improvement in Latte Lot's play in
Yeah.
2026. It's just a matter of all these pieces coming together, and him also, his confidence going up. He's going to get some rest, because we've talked about this before. We've kind of made the sort of excuse for him that, oh, he came from Europe, he didn't have any rest. Well, now he's going to get a rest, a full preseason,
Yeah.
a team that he knows now. He needs to now pick his head up and get some of the things right that he wasn't getting throughout the season, because he had his chances. He had his 1v1s where he would, miss, he'd hit the post, he'd go wide, over, whatever. Like, that cannot happen in 2026, at least not to the extent that it happened in 2025.
Yeah. Hope it's better. I mean, he'll at least be able to rest himself. And like you said, and get healthy. So hopefully that year 2 jump is evident with Latte Lot. And Dan saying in the chat about Sam Surridge, his year 1, and now look at him, a Golden Boot potential winner in 2025, stratospheric season in 2025. So hopefully we see the same with Latte Lot. I hope, because they need him going if they're to have any success in MLS in 2026 and beyond. Before we keep going here, want to do a little housekeeping. And we'll get Tommy in here just shortly in a little bit. But scarsandspikes.com is your home for Atlanta United news, analysis, and opinion. Go there and get caught up on everything that's going into the offseason already and what's going to happen in the offseason. And yeah, we're your one-stop shop. So go there every day. We'll be covering NWSL, Atlanta, as the building blocks kind of get put in for that. So scarsandspikes.com. It's also where you can get Scarves and Spikes merch, hats, hoodies, not scarves, but coffee mugs, glasses, things like that. That's at our store. There's a link to that at scarvesandspikes.com. Henry mentioned the Discord earlier. The only way to get access to our Discord is to become a Patreon backer, patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. We have 3 tiers. All 3 get you access to our Discord, and it helps support what we do here at Scarves and Spikes. I mentioned our live show. We're live Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Their MLS Monday show Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you can't catch us live, always catch the replay on YouTube. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share our content on YouTube, and listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart. Be sure to subscribe there as well and leave us a review. Give us 5 stars. Let us know how we're doing. We appreciate your feedback, and we welcome your feedback. Now, we want to give you the best show possible, and we can't do that without your feedback and without your support. So those are the different ways to find Scarves and Spikes. And of course, Scarves and Spikes on X, scarvesandspikes.com on Blue Sky, Scarves and Spikes on Instagram and Threads, and facebook.com/Scarves and Spikes. All right, Tommy.
Who looks
welcome.
very
Glad
happy.
You can make it. you're I can tell you have something on your mind about the state of Atlanta United over the past couple of days.
It's not just Atlanta United. It's the state of Atlanta sports. I think I finally hit the stages of grief of everything, or maybe it's just Atlanta sports exhaustment. I don't know what I'm through. No, I don't. I'm making up words now because it's you. I'm sure a lot of people follow just Atlanta sports in general, but Sunday, the Falcons lose. Sunday, the Falcons lose Drake London, Michael Penix for like a full year. They're also on my fantasy team. So double death there. Zachary Risache goes to do a dunk and somehow falls down like almost and does a handstand on his head. He gets hurt. And then I see Chiari get picked up knowing that we're poor. And then today I hear basically Chris Henderson say, like, we're going to start a GoFundMe for Gam and Tam. That's basically what I heard there. So I found $1. Are you going to
send them to the club? you can send start up a collection and send it to the club.
Can we get a left winger? Like, what's the exchange
What's
rate
that
for
in
this
Garber bucks?
into GAM money? Like, we're poor. We're poor. We let go 2 guys that made a ton of money on this team, and we're poor.
We're not.
We can't get.
Compared to
we're
Austin,
MLS
who has
poor.
like
we're MLS poor.
Well, compared to Austin, it's like 40,000 GAM.
I don't care what Austin is. I don't care what they do. Look, I'll see McConaughey once a year, and that's when I care about Austin. So let's not talk Austin. Let's talk Atlanta. We're poor.
Okay.
We're poor.
How do we get unpoor though?
I don't know. Saba. Buy.
Well,
Gregerson. Buyout. I don't know. What are we doing? How do we get rid of guys and basically be told like we got to move guys now to add guys? We've already subtracted guys. I phoned a friend in the Discord, Gray. He explained it to me. It was this damn summer transfer window, bringing all these guys in. This damn summer transfer window that we've heard about, and we've lived for the entire summer, and now we got to subtract to add. And I feel like we need to add a lot to this team. And now knowing that we've got to subtract to add, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys?
So you mentioned buyouts, and Henderson said, I hope we don't have to use them. That seems to be our last resort. Are they at that last resort point? I mean, you mentioned Saba, you mentioned Stian, and Stian, of course, you've mentioned his injury history with Atlanta United, and it could be a potential buyout candidate. We mentioned Saba, his form. Are these thanks, Kevin? Are these?
Wait, hold on. We got to do it because this is not. I'm gonna go super chat, but this is the GAM super chat. We will donate. I don't know what the GAM transfer from $4.99 is into money. I texted Garber. We will find out by the end of the show. I promise. Thank you.
Wham GAM. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, exactly. We'll figure it out. We'll punch it into the calculator and figure out the rest in a little bit. No, but Henderson said, look, we want to use our buyouts as a last resort. And I don't know, is Atlanta United at the last resort standpoint as I drop my water bottle on my desk?
We're poor.
Yeah. Opa. Are we at that point? I don't think we're at that point, but you have to start thinking about, hey, we have to use these on players that absolutely do not have a place with Atlanta United. And Muyimba, I'm sorry. I think you're a prime candidate for a buyout. Saba, I don't know. I think he can get something for him. Stian, I just hope he can be healthy and play 30 games in 2026. But I don't know. That's where I am. What about you guys? As far
30?
As buyouts?
You think he's going to play 30 games?
25. Let's be
That's
a
optimistic.
little more conservative. 25.
I mean, look, I think certainly they want to try to see who can work and who they can whose value they can boost a little bit this season in 2026. I mean, so that potentially in the summer, you can sell a little bit higher and solve some of that. I think it's a World Cup year. So players like Stian, who will probably may or may not be called to the Norway squad. Even Bartek Sliš. Well, they did.
Oh, they did. I forgot.
Yeah.
I thought they were in the playoff. I'm sorry. I thought they were in the playoff.
Bartek Sliš, I don't know if Poland made it. I don't think Poland made it. I don't remember. But he's a player that has been pretty solid for Atlanta. Atlanta might have to sell him if an offer comes to kind of replenish a little bit in that sense. Because I think you can definitely get value from him. Saba, maybe Tata can help make him work a little bit better than he did last season. I think last season was definitely a bit of an outlier for Saba because I think
anybody could get more out of Saba. He got nothing.
Yeah.
He got nothing.
2024, he was at least solid. He was reasonably solid. 2023, he was pretty good. There's no way that you have this kind of dramatic drop off, dude, where you have 0 goals in a whole, 1 goal in Leagues Cup, and that's off a set piece, and then 7 assists, right?
He was in the Ronnie rut.
Exactly. So I think, with Tata, and a system that kind of theoretically should work a little bit better for him and a role that suits him a little bit more, he should do better. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a similar situation with a lot of players, but I think we have to be patient and we have to see kind of where they evaluate that the strengths and weaknesses of this roster are and which players they can sell now this offseason to get value for in order to make the additions that they need to make. Because clearly, like, this team needs at least 2 goalkeepers, right? Because you only have Jaden Hibbert on the roster right now. You need some right backs because right now, I mean, they were negotiating with Ronald Hernandez, but Matt Edwards is the only right-sided fullback on the roster right now.
Yep.
You probably want a center back because you have 3. Noah Cobb might be gone to Colorado. We don't know yet those roster decisions. Gregerson's made of glass, so I mean, he might get injured, stepping off the bus or something. So you have to have a contingency plan there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, and you need wingers because where are the wingers on this roster? Saba is probably the best winger you have if you're not counting Miggy, who I don't count as a winger because I believe he's a 10. And Tata probably believes he's a 10 too. So you need wingers, you need fullback, you need right backs at least, you need goalkeepers. There's so much that needs to be done, and no money in the coffers, in the GAM coffers.
You're gonna have to do some readjusting, and I threw Mulimba out there. Maybe I'm a little bit harsh on him, but I mean, your starting midfielder. What? Hold on, your starting midfielders are Steve Alzate and Bartosz Slisz, right?
Yep.
I mean, there's no place for Mulimba. I mean, you have Riley, you have Fortune. I mean, I feel like Mulimba is like 3rd on that list, isn't he? So I think if anybody were to be bought out, it'll be Mulimba. But I go to what Henderson said. You're gonna have to make the right moves to prevent yourselves from buying players out, because this will be the 3rd season in a row, guys, where Atlanta United will have bought out a player. You had at the end, ETN, they had to buy out. You had Aparam, they had to buy out. Question mark about this year. I think you see at least one. So it's not a good precedent you want to set yourself or saddle yourself with as a club who keeps buying out players. It doesn't look good on you as an organization. It doesn't look good on you from a player standpoint. Just be very careful. You have to be very careful if you want to use that. Just be very careful on who you use it on, because there are other opportunities, U22s, trades, transfers that could materialize. So there's opportunities for Atlanta to get GAM and get enough money to bring in players that can help this team.
Man,
I don't think they're going to win MLS Cup in 2026, but
those summer contracts hurt, man. Because again, like, we're talking about 13, almost 14 million. No, sorry, 1.4 million for Mihai. Oh man, this team, it's got me losing my mind. 1.2 million for Barakal. Now he's easy to offload in the summer. You just don't take his purchase option.
Yeah.
Alzate, 1.4. He's a little bit tougher to get out because he has a contract through 2030. So he's going to be sticking around for a while unless someone comes for him. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, it feels like over the summer, you got rid of 2 promising homegrowns, right? 2 center backs, at least one of whom I think is equitable in playing ability or semi-equitable in playing ability to maybe Juan Barakal, at least. And yet you've brought a guy that you've decided to pay like 12 times what Efrain Morales was making. So, I mean, unless we see a huge improvement in what Barakal brings in 2026, that's going to look like a very, very silly move from Atlanta United.
Do you remember when we were afraid that Garth Lagerwey and gang weren't going to spend money because they were from Seattle and they didn't have a ton of money to work with? And one of the questions we had was, are they going to pull the checkbook out on some DP players? Well, I remember when I got my first debit card as a kid, and I went to town, man. It was Pizza Hut. Then you went to the mall. You went to Hot Topic. You bought myself a studded belt, and then I went down a little bit more, and I bought some candy from the candy store, and then I went to the movies. Like, that's what this front office
you discover
is doing.
overdraft fees what overdraft
Yeah,
fees were.
and we are overdrafted, man. We are so overdrafted. And you could talk about these off seasons over the past couple years with excitement that you were able to go and you were able to bring on some exciting players because you had DP spots open. Well, you don't have any
Yeah.
DP spots open, and now you don't even have hardly any money. So the U22 talk, I think, is interesting because maybe they're downselling it here because they don't want to have to go into the U22 world here and spend some money on these young players that are essentially lottery tickets because the lack of tape that you have on them and obviously their development and how they're going to go from there. But you might be really relying on these U22 players depending on what moves you make because you got a lot of roster spots that you need to fill. And you've left these 2 spots open, which potentially a third becoming open as well, and saying, man, like we've got to do something here to be able to fill a roster here to give to your new manager of Tata and saying, I want you to be successful in the season
Mhm.
here because depth is important in this league. Depth is very important
Mhm.
in this league and how you manage your salary cap. And I look at this and said, when Garth Lagerwey was signed and then Chris Henderson came in as well, I reiterated it that you've got 2 of the smartest guys in MLS working together to form this team to be successful short term, long term. They know how to manage a cap. And now I'm thinking about this, and maybe it's just this offseason and things will catch up and things will be fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're back in the Boca world here where we're just saying, do they know what they're doing here?
I, I
It's
would
scary
trust.
right now. It's really scary.
Yeah, you mentioned U22s. I would trust Tata, with a U22 strategy. I mean, his connections in South America are massive, and I'm pretty optimistic that they'll be able to find the right ones. But that's you have to find the right ones if you're going to do that because if they don't pan out, I mean, you're setting their development back. And Tata's been able to develop young players, as we've seen, as Henderson has mentioned. So I would definitely trust him, just in the way that he brought in U22s. Henry mentioned it in Miami. So he's I feel like one of your number one recruiters for Atlanta United, more than more than the scouting staff, more than the scouts. I think he's your number one recruiter just based on the weight his name holds in South America and how people know who he is and have flocked to him. Miggy is the first time he coached Atlanta United.
Y'all remember in the summer when Atlanta got Leo Afonso plus like 200 and something in GAM for an international slot, and we were like, "Whoa, Hendo's cooking! The freaking GAM wizard Henderson over here." Guys, I think he might have overcooked the food. He might have burnt the food a little bit because where did that GAM go? We thought we were overflowing with GAM, and now it's all gone, man. It's gone in some of these contracts.
We got you into the positive. We owed MLS Monopoly money. We owed them. They were going to start sending the guys to come beat us up for that GAM money here. And he was like, we got to make a move quick. We'll take this guy, but you got to give us GAM too. And then, yeah, we're not even picking him up the next year. Just go. We just wanted the GAM. That's all we really wanted.
Bro played 2 games for Atlanta United and then got kicked out the door.
I'll say this just real quick. I mean, you mentioned TRA. Maybe he gets a green card and he can trade us international slot and get some GAM for that. Possibly. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then, or also, if they end up, or if Colorado exercises a purchase option on Cobb, I think you could get some GAM right from that on the sell on fee. So
yes,
you have some mechanisms where you can get GAM, I think. But Tommy, you're praying that it happens. But yeah, you have some mechanisms where you can get GAM. But it is troubling. I think we can all agree it's a little bit troubling that Atlanta United are in the spot that they are, where they have to sell or trade a player in order to get themselves in the position where they can sign players. Because as we mentioned, you have goalkeeper. You need 2 goalkeepers to either back up Jaden Hibbert or compete with Jaden Hibbert. Who will those be? We don't know. David Bingham's out there. Joe Willis, I think, is a little bit past his prime. I don't know if you bring him on a 1 year. Sean Johnson might be available. There are several options that you can go, but you're going to need to clear out some money if you're going to pursue those options. Bingham, maybe not much because he won't command a large contract, but you're going to have to move some money around and get some money is the point.
And that's the thing. If, Henderson said, you got to sell in order to buy. And you can only sell players in which other clubs are interested in. And those are players that are performing or who look promising enough to perform. And so we're looking at potentially, unfortunately, some of the homegrowns, man. I mean, I think Jay Fortune is safe because, he's just coming back from an injury. I don't think clubs are going to be buying a player that, has missed so much time after an injury around midseason. But I mean, maybe they're looking at Luke Brennan, who had a pretty good season, right? Maybe he is a player that Atlanta would be willing to trade for some GAM. Maybe a player like Will Riley, maybe, I don't know, maybe Matt Edwards is someone that is being looked at around the block, right? Around MLS potentially for some squad depth for some of these teams that really want to focus on like younger players. That could be potentially where Atlanta is looking to get some of that allocation money. So obviously, me personally, I would rather keep some of these players. I like, what Matt
Gray's
Edwards
having a heart
attack
right now with what
I
you're
like. I know, and I'm sorry, Gray, but that's the reality of MLS. It's a business, and what has Atlanta United shown us historically that they are willing to sacrifice the homegrowns for, being able to get this allocation money, the funds, to then get more experienced players. That's simply that's the precedent. That's the precedent that has been set over the past few transfer windows.
Maybe to a fault too, I guess, in the matter of Morales and Cobb. I'll just say that.
I agree with that 100%. And Gray would too, I know for a fact.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Once February, whatever hits that this season starts, I'm going to be pumped. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be ready to watch this team play. Until then, especially with everything that has gone on this week with Arthur Blank teams, I am just worried about the future of both the teams that I root for that play in that stadium, to be honest with you. And just a lot of the choices that have been made both that are very similar in a lot of ways of how they've been handled over the years, with the constant removal of managers that have lasted short amount of times, the handling of the team, the culture. You want to talk about culture? I mean, both these teams have culture issues. It's a lot. So when I come in here burn out, it's literally that I'm burnt out. Like I don't get Atlanta sports burn out. I'm not a Braves fan, but I like 3 out of the 4 teams here. And right now, the 2 ones that play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I'm exhausted right now. I need to hear some good news here. And when I saw Tiare get picked up yesterday, and who knows? I mean, Sydney, you tried to talk me down yesterday and saying, maybe they could potentially move on from him and maybe they're holding on to him for some value here. It just didn't make sense to me. And then today to find out that, there's a QR code at the press conference to donate to GAM. I'm kidding. That you could go in there and you too can be a part. You could get your name on the Atlanta United training ground if you can help us get $5 of GAM. And there's Sarah McLachlan in the Arms of the Angels playing, and there's just Henry sat in the window trying to get in with the sad puppy dogs in the commercials. Like that's what I when I listened to that conversation, just going, what now? What now? How am I supposed to get excited that because this team needs a lot of changes. It's not just Tata. I don't want to hear that. And I don't know if that's what they're trying to say. I know Tata probably can get more out of these guys that are currently on this team, but you still have a certain amount of roster spots that you're supposed to fill. You don't just leave them empty because that you're poor. And look, I've been there in EAFC before where I've overspent on 4 players. And they're like, sorry, Tommy, you can't sign any more players. I don't have a keeper for the season. Oh, well, I guess Miguel Almiron is going to be keeper for the year. I've been in those situations before, but that's fake. This is real life. You need to be able to put on a squad after you had literally the worst season in the history of this team. You are expecting a big comeback from here, and you got to be able to fill this roster with some good players. And when I hear the answer, and I know it's just a hypothetical thing, that you sell the young players because you spent a bunch of money on a couple guys here in the summer that everybody questioned on why maybe a couple of these players were brought on when you had young players that were cheaper, that were in developing from inside the club. I'm just going, oh, we knew it. We didn't know we were going to be this broke, but now we're being told we're broke. I want a good Christmas, Chris Henderson. I don't want an empty Christmas tree. The Christmas tree sounds like there's no Christmas. Do I need a second family to get another Christmas?
Probably brown Christmas tree at this point with you, right?
Oh, we're gonna watch Home Alone 3, and there's gonna be no gifts under the tree. There's gonna be no gifts under the tree.
Santa Claus is
walking downstairs in my basement right now, going, "What the hell is going on in this basement right now? We're bored, Tina. There's no Christmas. There's no players. There's nothing."
Did you ever get sacked in AFC when you bought a player that's too expensive and were on too high a wage compared to everybody else, and they just sacked you because they thought it would cause discontent in the locker room? Has that ever happened to you?
I've never been sacked. And now Tina's looking at me again, going, "What are you talking about, Tommy?"
How did you manage that?
I don't know.
I've been sacked.
They believe in me.
They
believe in Tommy.
You think they accidentally added a zero to one of these players' salaries in the summer?
Yeah,
like they go back. Like, has that ever happened to you in the
like
AFC where you accidentally you're like, "Oh shoot, I didn't mean to put $1 million."
40 million. I wanted to pay 40.
No, I've done that at 2 a.m. in the AFC. No, it's like when
$2 million wage a week.
You didn't know you could change the money to like American money, and I'm like Googling. I'm like, oh, you know what? Whatever. I don't know what actually this money is, but whatever. It's fine. And it's like you have $0 left, sir. At the end of that one, I was like, all I wanted was Jurgen Damm on my team. I didn't think it was going to spend my entire budget on this guy. Yeah. Need a cigarette after that. I don't even smoke.
Right. What else you guys got? I feel like it hits on everything. Well, not everything, but I feel like that hits on pretty much all that Chris Henderson said. Garth Lagaway sounds like he's doing good, so that's good news. Definitely wish him the
main
best.
thing that came out of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely wish Garth Lagaway the best as he continues in his health journey. But I feel like that's all I had to hit on personally. I don't know if you guys had anything else before you got out of here, or anything that you wish that Chris Henderson would have brought up during his press conference.
I know Tata will probably talk about it when you get to the preseason, and you guys that obviously have this ability to talk to him directly is to talk about the culture of not the team, but the culture of the organization. Because I've been hearing that a lot with the Falcons for like the past 48 hours. And again, like I hear that because there are a lot of I don't know how many fans are actually fans of both teams of United and the Falcons, but I've seen a lot of tweets recently, and like there was a rant about the Falcons right now about how they have a lot of players that are from like different GMs that have been here. Different coaches that the players have wanted. It's a mixed match here. And the organization, and maybe it's just, was it AMBSC or is that right?
Yeah. MBSC.
Okay. Yes. In general, I think there has to be an overall culture change. And if I missed Connie for the Rich McKay thing today, I apologize, Connie, that I was late.
She was at the top of the show.
Always is. When Connie stops showing,
right?
Check on Rich McKay because I don't know. Make sure Rich McKay's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's got to be a lot of changes with both these franchises because the Falcons were really good for a long time. They were. People don't remember that, but there was a long period of time where they were a successful franchise here, and you always knew that they were going to be able to succeed. And Atlanta United, while it was a short stint, you were the class of MLS, and everybody was saying, what is this team that came into the league? What are they doing? How are they doing this? Well, that was short because other teams out there got smart to it. We're able to find the players that we're able to find. We're able to find the money in the couch to spend. Remember, the Columbus Crew did not want to spend any money on any player. That's why they weren't good. Like they did not they started setting record signings left and right once they got a new owner that had that wanted to spend money on it. Now other owners are spending money. You're getting new teams that continuously come into this league that say, yeah, I'm paying the franchise fee, but I'm also spending a lot of money here on the players, the right coach, the right general manager here. And that's where we're being outclassed. And just in general here is because, yeah, we're spending money. And look, it's been like this for a long time. You're spending money, but maybe it's not the right fit. And it all started with Ezequiel Barco. That was where it kind of all started with this, because remember, Tata didn't want him. Tata did not want Barco on this team. And then it just kind of continued from there on. It's like, but yeah, we're signing this guy, but does it fit the team? Does it fit the culture here? I don't know. I really don't know. And I know I'm just ranting here, but like, guys, it eventually gets to a point where you're just like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Well, what is it? Because, yeah, this is small news compared to all these players getting hurt for this other team here. And I know they don't coincide, but like you just get exhausted and just say, when are things going to turn around that we're not just complaining all the time, that it's, that the games are going to get better, that our cap situation is going to get better, that we're the top of the league. We're the talk of the league of how we handle our business. That's where we were. You talk about green cards. Like we were out of the blue be like, oh, 4 players just got a green card.
Yeah.
I remember that day, actually. Like there was a day where it was just like, they were like, oh, these 4 guys all got green cards. Like, and it's like, we are geniuses.
Where did this come from?
Yeah. Where did it come from? Okay, cool. No more international spots. I don't hear that anymore here. I know, like, I just need something. I need to feel something besides sadness and anger.
And frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's in that short season, I'll allow it. I've already heard people say when you win, if you win that short MLS season, it's gonna be like the COVID year or the MLS bracket tournament. No, baby. If we win that thing, we get everything right, and we win that thing, I'll still go streaking down the street. I'll still be for us winning. I'll still do it. A trophy is a trophy at this point. Give me the MLS back trophy.
Right.
The Mickey Mouse Disney trophy, whatever it is, I'll take it.
Henry, what do you think?
Man, I think that this club has a lot to figure out before we get to that point. And first and foremost, it's what we've been saying all along throughout this show in different ways, but you got to put out a competitive roster in 2026. There have to be some changes. I talked about some of the positions that need to be filled, that need to be reinforced. There's a lot of holes in this roster now. They've cleared space for, as far as, roster space, but now we're talking about cap space. And how do you make that up? So I'm interested to see how this club faces that challenge. I don't think that Tata would join this club without a clear idea of what he wanted to do, without assurance that his ideas and his plans could be executed. So I think that there's a plan in place, and we kind of, and I hate, people are going to hate that I'm saying this, but we kind of have to trust the process here because we've got no other choice right now. But I think we need to trust the process, and we need to kind of trust that Tata is able to spark some of that magic that he was able to bring to 2017 and 2018 as far as building the roster, adding talent that kind of outperforms what maybe we expect based on what was spent for them, their role initially. There's a lot of potential for improvement, I think. And I don't think Tata is the type of coach that would just say, oh yeah, I can make this work, and then not mean it and us not see the results. I don't think he would be that type of guy. So I think if he says that this team can work, I think if he says that he believes that this group of players can make good things happen, then I think that he's telling the truth. And I think that we need to see what happens. But right now it's too early. Right now there's not even a complete roster.
Yeah.
So we'll see, and it's going to be interesting to see what they target when it comes to super draft time. Gray has talked about some potential targets there. Atlanta has a high pick, unfortunately, in the super draft. There's free agency, which starts December 11th. Plenty of good players there. Re-entry draft. There's some stuff there as well. And then obviously just the transfer window in preseason. So there's a lot to come. But yeah, the only thing we can do right now is kind of wait and see how this team digs themselves out of this gam hole that they're in right now.
Yeah.
And I apologize, Sydney. Sorry. If I came in, brought the vibes down here on this, I apologize. But, eventually you just need to vent. You eventually just get broken here. And that's kind of where I'm at here. But like I said earlier, February comes, or March, whenever the opener is, I'm going to be like, let's go. Let's go. Let's see what Tata can do here.
Yeah.
It's all on these guys to be able to fix things. We hope it does. But we can't just be homers here and stay positive all the time. We got to be honest with ourselves. And if I'm coming here to scream, I'm going to scream for a couple minutes. And if I ruined Christmas,
the Grinch.
just
if you start turning green,
put a player under the tree. Damn it,
we'll be a little concerned. I'll just say this, and we'll probably get out of here unless you guys had something else. But I think you needed something to rally around going into 2026. Sort of what you were saying, Henry, and Tata is it. More than any player, more than any signing, Tata is your marketing chip for 2026. This is a person who's won MLS Cup, who's led Atlanta United to its very height, and since then he hasn't quite gotten there. And a lot of people are saying, I trust Tata. He hasn't given anybody a reason to not trust him. I mentioned he's been your best recruiter, or he was your best recruiter, more than the scouting staff, more than Bocanegra, more than Eels. People were drawn to play for Tata. Miguel Marone was drawn to play for Tata, and his reputation precedes himself. And I'm excited. I know we all are excited. It's been tough going. It's been really hard watching this team in 2025, but we joke about 2 more windows, 3 more windows. I mean, it's gonna be a process, and I feel like everyone is in a position, and most fans are in a position where they're like, hey, we have Tata Martino back in the fold, and let him go to work. Just trust him. He's done this before. He knows what it takes to build a winning roster or to coach a winning roster in Major League Soccer. And he's pretty much succeeded everywhere he's been, and there's no reason to think that he won't succeed here in the second stint with Atlanta United. Quick question.
Realized both Arthur Blank teams are run by a guy that was part of the team, was a coach of the team, and
yeah, that's
left
a good point.
and then came back. I don't know if that's a good point. That's a good thing. I'm just
hopefully it's better than. Hopefully it's better than when the Falcons brought back a former coach.
Damn it, Raheem! I wanted to like you.
Yeah, exactly. Thanksgiving plans. I don't think we have a show next Wednesday, but Thanksgiving plans. Tommy, what are you doing?
Family.
Anything fun?
Spend some time.
Family.
We do 2 Thanksgivings.
Oh,
we do 2 every holiday.
Okay.
So we do that. And then Wednesday, I don't know if I've had this thing. We just go out with our friends on Wednesday. That was like the big thing when you were young, is like go out drinking. Henry, do kids still do that these days? On Wednesday? Yeah, it's supposed to be the biggest drinking day of the year.
Well, I usually hang out and do that kind of stuff on like a Tuesday, ironically, but yeah. Yeah. And that's probably my plan, honestly. Also do
you like turkey?
Thanksgiving week. What was that?
Do you like turkey?
Yeah, turkey's good. I don't like preparing it. I can't, but I like eating it for sure. So that's gonna be fun. And then family and friends. That's kind of the main thing.
Yeah, I'll be in Florida with family. My side of the family, So my dad, my brother, his wife and their kids, and then my sister, her partner and their kid will be down there together. And with the dog, we're driving down early Tuesday morning, my wife and I, to Florida. So yeah, like I said, don't think we have a show next Wednesday. I don't know if we'll have a show on Monday before Thanksgiving. We'll let you know on our social media channels what our plans are for that. But yeah, certainly hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for being with us, highs and lows. 2026 won't be too far away, but for now, let's enjoy the holiday and enjoy that time coming up with family for Thanksgiving. So
we're thankful for all of you.
Yes,
for sure.
We are very thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for you guys.
Well, and a little bit for Henry as well. We like Henry.
And for Tyler.
He didn't show up. We don't have to say nice things.
Well, he had a really good reason.
Yeah, but you know what? He's not here. We don't have to say nice things about Tyler.
No, we're thankful for Tyler too.
He's here in spirit.
Yeah.
Tommy, where can people find you on social media?
Well, actually, my Venmo is Tam. Thank you, ma'am. So just any donations to there, just send it. I promise you, I'm not holding the money. It's going to Atlanta United.
Can we be sure you're not holding the money? I mean, Christmas is around the corner, so we need some assurances that you're not just gonna spend the money on other stuff.
Dude, we could have paid like a fourth of TRA and just got Barry back. Like we could have just got Barry at this point. Like we could have done that at like some point.
Quarter of the price.
Let's just flip a coin on. You want Kubo Torres? Yeah. We get a little Kubo Torres, so we at least get a left winger.
I'll bring back Kubo Torres.
See, is he still with where's he at again? I always forget.
Who?
Orange County, Kubo
Torres. Is he still playing?
Yeah. I believe he is. I think it was.
I think
he's at
the. He works at the In and Out in San Jose.
Sporting FC in Costa Rica's first year.
The other Sporting, not Sporting Lisbon.
No. How funny would it be if he ended up there?
It's called falling upward. But yes, Tommy ATL 96, right? Is where you are.
Yeah, I guess.
And then the Venmo is what again? Just for
Tam, thank you, ma'am.
1511 or something like that. Henry, what is your Venmo? No, just kidding. What is your social media? Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at H.A. Higuita on Twitter, Blue Sky, or Instagram. Yeah.
SidH.soccer on Instagram and Threads. SH Rice on X. SH Rice on Blue Sky. Scarves, the letter N, Spikes on X. ScarvesandSpikes.com on Blue Sky. Scarves and Spikes everywhere else. Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. Tyler's at ATL Pilgrim everywhere. He couldn't be with us this episode, but he'll be back hopefully next time. Again, yes, Scarves, the letter N, Spikes on X. ScarvesandSpikes.com on Blue Sky. Scarves and Spikes everywhere else. Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. ScarvesandSpikes.com. That's where you can find the latest Atlanta United news, analysis, and insight. Also, a link to our stores at scarvesandspikes.com. And of course, patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. Like and subscribe on Facebook if you haven't already. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, please leave a review and let us know how we're doing. 5 stars preferred. But yeah, let us know how we're doing. We want to build the best show for you. So thanks as always. If we don't talk to you before Thanksgiving, we will see you after the holiday. Happy Thanksgiving.
Can you hear me okay?
Now I can.
Okay, good. Well, I get so nervous with this. So I'm not gonna show the video. I've decided I'm not going to. But just random thing. I posted this picture of me on Twitter and Instagram. I want a sloth. I went to this thing called Boko Lingo. Boko Bingo. Loco Bingo. Man, I can't talk today. Anyways, so I went to it and they said if you post on social media, we might call you up on stage. So I went up on stage with these two women, and they said whoever gives this sloth the best lap dance will win this sloth. Guys, your boy won. Took my shirt off on stage, gave it a little bit of a dance,
Congratulations.
and best part was I Ubered home, and I had to go into a restaurant afterwards to, super up a little bit, and everybody's like, "How'd you win that sloth?" And told them I got game.
Is it a living sloth? Is it an actual sloth or a stuffed sloth?
No, dude.
Funny you say that.
It's a
because
stuffed
here-
sloth. Thank you. It's a stuffed sloth. I just want to clarify. It wasn't like a living sloth. You said sloth, so I just want to make sure that.
I called it a bear for like the entire time, and it kept
Is
yelling at
owning
me.
a
Found out it
sloth
wasn't the
legal
bear.
in Georgia, or not Georgia, Ohio?
What's that?
Is owning a sloth legal in Ohio?
Well, this guy is
Yeah.
our new family member.
That
We
sloth
haven't
looks like
named it.
it's that sloth looks like it's seen some things.
Oh, well, it was love at first sight, first sloth. So
Tommy ATL 96. If you want to see the sloth
see
in
that.
question.
if you want to see the video, go to my OnlyFans. That's what you'll see. And with that, good night.